Thomas Gunge with another video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at a rather damaged package. It's really bad, but it's Transformers Generations Fall of Cybertron Deluxe Class Autobot Jazz. Now, I'm just going to call him Jazz, so that whole Autobot Jazz thing is gone and stupid, I think. But one thing I will tell you, I got this off of eBay, and I got it from a place called Comics and Toys. And this is how I got the package. You can see that was completely bent back because the box that they used to ship these figures was too small of a box. And the box got a little bit damaged during shipping. Now that happens sometimes, but because they used too small of a box, this got scrunched in, and very disappointed in that. They're lucky I'm not a mint on box collector, but for the price I paid for these, it should have been a whole lot better. Plus they just used newspaper as their packaging material, which isn't all that bad. I've done it, but don't use a box that is smaller than what you're shipping. I mean, it's like when they put it in there, they actually had to bend this to actually get it in there, and then when the actual package got squished, that happened. So there you go. So I apologize, that's just me ranting and complaining, but there it is. Flip around here on the back and you see his Cybertronian racer mode, and it includes a blaster, which is very nice. I love the old school kind of G1 tech specs on here. Very nice. Absolutely love that. You can almost cut that out and have it like a G1 sort of stuff. And it says, Autobot Jazz is gifted with a flair for flexible thinking and improvisation, making him the ideal special operations commander for the Autobots. Optimus Prime entrusts him with the most sensitive missions, counting on his keen mind and natural leadership to accomplish even the most dangerous objectives, no matter what. Very kind of cool. Now, obviously, it's a nice kind of photoshopped image. It looks a lot better. This is just kind of, very kind of, I don't know, drab kind of white paint. I would really love to see some of these kind of like darker elements. I mean, you can see the really nice artwork on here with some nice kind of grayish tones in there. Very kind of cool. I do like the way he looks, but I think a nice wash on him would look a whole lot better. But let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Jazz open up and out of its packaging, and I'm kind of curious to see how many people will say that they can't see the figure because he's white and the background's white. This should be rather interesting, and I realize now just saying that has encouraged a whole bunch of stupid people to say that, but overall, I really actually do kind of like the way that this robot mode looks. It's a really nicely painted figure, despite the fact that his white is really kind of boring, I suppose. I do wish that there was some kind of a black wash or something just to kind of give it a more weathered look, I suppose. But I really don't think it's all that bad. All this blue is a nice kind of metallic, glittery blue, which I think is absolutely awesome. I love the fact that you got the black paint in here for like kind of the engine area, and then the exhaust pipes here are actually this gray color, which is very nice. A nice metallic gray. Get this gun out of the way. And as you can see, the weapon just plugs in that big giant hole that goes all the way through them. Not too terribly bad. I do like the wheels on it. I love the silver painted here on the side. Very cool. Now, some people complain that this is kind of a bad figure. I really don't like using bad as an example for this. When I think of bad, I think of the Optimus Prime. I think that looks bad. I think this looks actually pretty good. He rolls as he's supposed to. You got a nice Autobot logo there. I guess the biggest problem would be the white on here. It's just kind of white, and I know some people will probably complain about that, but it's supposed to be white. I mean, I kind of would like it to look a little bit more dirty, I suppose. And you flip around here on the back, and there's his hands just hanging out right there. So it's not a bad vehicle mode. I actually watched another video review for this guy specifically, and the gentleman compared this to Bumblebee, and how he said that he doesn't like this because it looks too Earth mode-ish, but he liked Bumblebee, which to me, Bumblebee just looked like a kind of Cybertronian version of a Volkswagen Beetle or Bug. This looks like a Cybertronian Jazz sort of car. So I don't really see that comparison too terribly much. I'm not criticizing it. I just don't really agree with it or see that kind of comparison as being fair or equal, I guess. But pretty nice looking. It is a smaller size figure. Again, like I said before, all these new generation Fall of Cybertron figures are a little bit smaller, but we're going to have to get used to that. Now to transform them, it's actually pretty easy to do. Just unpeg this from the side, kind of rotate this out, just get it off on an angle. Do that on both sides just like so, and then bring these legs down. Now he is when you transform him, he is kind of a floppy mess. It's not an automorph really. It's all hinged in a way that it kind of automorphs, but not really all that bad. So just kind of angle all this up just like so. Separate the legs, take the feet, rotate these down, and you can hear some really nice kind of ratchet joints on here. We'll get to those here in a little bit because that's one of my minor kind of nitpicks about the figure itself. Okay, so there you have the lower half of them pretty much done. And coming up to the top, what you want to do is, and as you can see, when you fold this down, it kind of hinges this section down. So then take this section here, you fold, and then you're going to create a little plug right here that's going to plug into the back of them right there. Just slot that right in, and that brings up his head, and then you just fold this back. This section here, this kind of just, I don't want to say it clips into place, but it kind of just like frictions around some joints, I suppose. Then rotate this around. This section here is kind of a pain. You have to separate that, and then untab this section here, like so, and then fold this, put that down. Then take this section, rotate that around, fold out the hand, do that on this side as well. Like I said, fold this little bit out, and then this upper section here kind of slots in, fold that down, that clips into place, rotate that around, fold that down, and here you have Jazz in his robot mode. Now, with Jazz, in terms of his robot mode, the biggest problem, and I don't know if I've seen people talk about this, is this right here. This is ugly. I mean, this is just a whole empty cavity, and it's really very unattractive for that. I mean, when you're looking at it from the front, it doesn't look all that bad, but then you get down here, and you can see he's got like this blue piece here underneath his head that's kind of floating there. It's just... that's really kind of unattractive, if you ask me. It's really not all that good looking from that perspective, but the figure itself really isn't too bad. Now for a comparison, here he is next to the Reveal the Shield version of Jazz. And a lot like with this Jazz, how the plastic was kind of this just white molded plastic, that's what we basically have with this. It's a very light colored white. There isn't too much going on in it, and it would almost serve a better purpose if they kind of maybe mixed in like a little bit of black in it. Just a tiny, like if you had this much white, if you put in that much black, just to kind of make it a deeper kind of color. But you can see again, size-wise, here's a deluxe from a few years ago. Here's the new deluxe figures, and yeah, his legs are a little bit spread out, but that's about it. Speaking about the legs, they look very close together, as you can see. You got a big upper torso, and the legs look really close together. I really kind of attribute that to the fact that it really looks like this bit right inside here. Like if you look here, you got part of his leg that goes inward. So it really kind of makes it look kind of, I don't know, too close together. If this was reversed, then if it was bigger on the outside, it probably wouldn't look that bad. But this, like the entire section right all inside here, if that was all trimmed all the way off, it would probably look better. But honestly, overall, it's not that bad looking of a figure. I think he's actually really kind of cool. Now, his shoulders here are on ball joints, but mine, they're not loose. They're not falling, but it kind of feels, and it's probably because of this section right here, because you have to untab that to get a full range of motion. I think it's because of that it kind of feels like this shoulder is loose, because it's really not all that loose. The ball joint is fairly secure, and it just feels as if it's this separate blue bit that's kind of making it feel loose. His elbows are on ratchet joints, which is really very nice. He also rotates at the bicep. The wrist here are on ball joints, so you can rotate those all the way around, and they also kind of go in and out, part of the transformation. Nothing at the waist. The hips here are on ball joints, so full range of motion. He also rotates right above the knee, but it's kind of a weird joint. It goes boom. It's like in between, it doesn't work. It's like almost like a ratchet joint inside there that rotates out. So it's like you can't really get it on much of an angle other than that. And then the knees are on ratchet joints as well. So all the joints are very ratchety. The feet are also on ratchet joints. But the problem that I have kind of with the feet is they are very straight. Like very straight. I really wish I could, and you can't go any further up. I really wish there was a way that I could go at least one more notch just to kind of bring his legs a little bit further back and have the feet kind of angle out just one more notch. It would just make the figure look a lot better. And then the head is on a ball joint, but the biggest problem with that is because of these side bits. It's really hard to kind of get in there to do anything. And he's got light piping, except it doesn't light anything up. But the face is actually a really good looking face. I really do dig that, and it's a very nicely painted face. You see the blue metallic paint on there as well as the silver. Very nice. Generally speaking, I really do like this figure. I think he's very kind of cool looking. Now, he does come with the gun that you could see in the vehicle mode, and he just holds it. It's nothing spectacular. It's a little tiny handgun, but this is actually, you know, my second favorite figure between him and Shockwave. They're the best. Optimus Prime is, in my opinion, the worst looking of them, but very clean, very nice. I just, like I said, you know what? When you look down at his feet are this kind of brown plastic with white paint on the outside. That's a nicer kind of white than the white molded plastic. I kind of wish that the rest of his body was painted like that. So, oh well, what are you going to do? Such is life. But there you see Jazz. Now to transform him back, go ahead. And now some people have complained about this, saying that it's a little bit complicated. I don't think it's really all that complicated, to be honest. Stretch these arms out, rotate this around, do that over here as well. Rotate that around so you have that. Take this section here, bring this up, and then this is kind of a pain in the butt. Zoom in so you can see things a little bit better. Right on the inside here is this white flap. You have to rotate this around to get it to line up with this tab section. And once you get it, it slides in very nicely and there's no problem. And then there's a little hook section right here. You just hook that on. And now you have the arms done. Come around to this side and do the same thing over here. Like I said, just rotate this around. Accordion this back. When you bring it back, it's actually a little bit easier. So bring that back, line that up, and bring this down just like so. So like I said, now you have the arms done. Just kind of leave them out to the side. Separate this torso bit, just like so. Fold this section back. Now when you do this, you can bring the feet up, or the legs up there. You're going to put the thighs up here in the front section of the car, and then take this section and rotate this, and that's going to tuck his head away. Like I said, it's all hinged together. It's not really automorph, but in doing so, like I said, you do that and you see the head come up. So it's kind of like automorph, I guess, but not really. So fold this back, bring that up, and then you bring the, like I said, the thighs up here into the front section. Clip these legs together here right up at the knee area. Rotate these back. Make sure that these are all the way rotated back, otherwise it's going to have a hard time fitting up in here. And then his face, as you can see, just kind of rests in between his legs, just like that. Then bring the arms back like so. Push that in nicely. Bring that back. Push that in there, holds in there very nicely, fold the hands in, and here you have Jazz back in his vehicle mode. And when it comes to this figure, Jazz really is, like I said, my second favorite of the first wave of the Fall of Cybertron figures. Shockwave is just a little bit better than this guy, but I really still actually enjoy him. The biggest problems that I mentioned before, that being the white coloring and the big open chest piece on him, really do kind of give an ugly look to him, but it's not all that bad. Vehicle mode, I don't think he looks bad at all, really. I mean, you got the obvious hands sticking out here, but again, that's not too terrible, and you got the big open section back here, but and you got that big giant open section in robot mode too, so at least it carries over in vehicle mode. But again, the biggest problem is the white color, which is obviously very prevalent here in the vehicle mode. Transformation on it is actually really simple, and what's kind of interesting is there's not a lot of stuff that you really actually have to do. This has a very kind of revealer sort of feel to it. As you slide in one section because of the hinge, it makes another section rotate out. Unlike a lot of the Automorph stuff, which those were all gear based kind of, this is just more like hinge based, I guess. And while you're transforming it, it is a little bit of a floppy mess, but you're transforming it. It's not that big of a deal. Then in robot mode, you got the big giant gaping hole in his chest, which from the top looking down looks bad. And then the white color is obviously still very prevalent. Generally speaking though, as I said, this is my second favorite of the figures, and I think it's a very nice representation of Jazz. Without a doubt, I would highly recommend picking this guy up. And I'm sure all you Jazz fans out there, Bob! This is definitely a figure that you guys would be able to actually enjoy and feel good about having. So until next time, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. I'll talk to you later.